Nathan, you
We are
there?
live. Yeah, we are live.
Cool. So yeah. So hello everyone. Thank you
Can
for joining us today.
can this be renamed to part one?
I'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. No worries.
Yeah, sure. And also, Rahul, can you please turn off your screen sharing for a bit because in the live stream it is showing only your screen, not Philo's screen.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
done.
Cool. So I was just chilling. I was just welcoming everyone. Uh, Thank you for coming today for today's session on Bash from Scratch by Rahul. So we had few sessions before, and if you have missed any of these sessions, we have recorded this session and are available on YouTube. So please go check it out. The link of our YouTube channel is available in the charts. So these sessions are the byproduct of this lockdown happening all around the world, organized by volunteers from Delhi Hardware Hacker Club and ILUG Delhi. And we have scheduled a lot of meetups in the last 2 months, and we have our own calendar. So please subscribe to our calendar. The link is available in charts as well. If you don't know, we already had few sessions before, and we have some awesome sessions coming up as well. The next session will be on Inkscape for beginners by Mason, and all our sessions are uh, can be joined from Jitsi. It's an interactive and awesome project for the community, conference calls actually. And we will also stream all our videos on YouTube. We also have this virtual quiz happening around weekly basis with our community check-in calls every Friday, with a prize of a cute little plant, which we will of course can give you when we meet you in person after the lockdown. And I estimate it approximately a year. Sarcasm aside. So yeah, I have shared the link of YouTube in the charts as well. You can follow us, stay connected with us on social media, on Twitter, Telegram, mailing list. We have our Facebook page, but we are not much active on that. We also have a Reddit page. That link can be found on our website. We join our meetup group on meetup.com/highlight Delhi. So we also update our meetups on that, but due to the lockdown, it's pretty much virtual meetups. We are also looking for sponsor and always looking for sponsor if you want to help us help us grow the community in any way and help us contribute to the community by sponsoring anything like stickers, swags, uh, server credits if you're working for a startup and they are ready to share the server credits or anything. You can also sponsor us for a weekly quiz prizes, and we will. And if you want to reach out to us for sponsorships, you can reach out to us on Telegram, Twitter, mailing list, Facebook, almost anywhere we are available. We also have a code of conduct during these sessions that we apply. And if you don't want to read the whole session, which link, whose link is already available in the charts, you can go through the whole version or just the TLDR. Be nice to everyone. And to make the most of this session, to make the best out of this session, set your display name other than fellow Jitsi, which is the default given by Jitsi, so that we can recognize you later in the charts. And follow COC. Mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Raise hand before speaking if you want to speak. It's instead of interrupting the speaker. Put your questions for speaker in the chat window with Q colon or however speaker prefers. You can also directly at the end of the session, or of course, it depends on the speaker as well. And if you want to propose a session, similar session, or anything related to Linux hardware, programming, anything, you can propose. You can create an issue on our ILUG-D GitHub Talks repository. The link is available in the chat as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So today's session will be by Rahul Bansal on Bash from scratch, which is more like a hands-on, I believe. And yeah, Rahul can take over from here. And yes, Rahul, you there?
Yeah. Thanks, Rohit. So this is like for anyone who wants to learn bash, but this is not for Linux, like introduction to Linux in any way. So like basic commands of Linux, like cat, or what do they do, cp, mv, wget, curl, what do they do, you can read somewhere else, because this would be covering only the bash part of Linux, not the like commands part. So if you have any questions, you can ask like directly in between. You can interrupt me wherever you want. Um, can like all of you speak? Oh, okay. Harshit has joined. Um, I'm not able to listen to any one of you. Like Himank, can you say a word if you want to ask?
You are audible. Yeah, it's
Okay,
good.
okay, okay,
Continue.
okay.
Yeah.
So man, bash. This is like, first of all, bash is the next version of sh. So earlier it was sh, the shell. Um, then it is born again shell. Bash is born again shell. So okay, now going over, these are all the options that we can cover later. Um, Moving onwards. Now, how does bash actually work? So when you start bash, so you can like read this, where bash profile executes if the shell is non-interactive, and on the boot, then bash logger, then bash profile, bash login, profile. And if none of these are, you do not want any of this to occur, then you can use the no profile option. If you are in an interactive shell or non-interactive shell and you want to log out.
Sorry, Rahul. Sorry for the interrupt. I'm not able to watch your screen. The screen is not visible.
Oh, okay, great. Yep.
Yeah,
um,
now cool.
Also, can you just increase the font size a bit? It would be helpful.
this is fine.
Yeah, better.
Okay, so I'm covering like straight man bash from man page. So if any one of you wants to follow along, you can open your bash man page using man bash. uh, so I told you these are all the options that we can cover later, how it what you can change in bash. So one or two would be like hyphen I, it makes the shell interactive. um, Hyphen o plus, it makes shopped options, that we will cover again later. Yeah, so I'll cover the options later. I'm repeating myself because yeah, so the screen was not there. I was telling you about this. When the shell starts, it reads first of all, it reads these files and executes commands from these files: bash profile, bash login, and profile, in that order, if they are readable. And if you do not want these to execute, then you can use no profile. This happens when the shell is invoked either interactively or non-interactively. Now, when you exit out from the shell, either from interactive or non-interactive, then this file executes bash logout. So if you want anything to happen when you exit out of a shell, any command to execute, like let's say when you last did anything in shell, so you can put those commands over here, like record the current timestamp when I last exited out of the shell. Moving onwards, so this is the bash rc file. Now it executes when you are in an interactive shell logged in, which is not a login shell. So but there's a catch over here. Like if you are logging in from a network into the bash, like when you are using sshd, so it executes then also. Now moving on, like if this is how the shell starts, and what files it reads, and it executes commands from when um, whenever you log in. Now reserved words, yeah, these we will cover. Shell grammar, simple pipeline. Now this is a pipe that you most of you might must be knowing. So we can do echo hi and do like straight pipe it to cat, or maybe IP and then pipe into cat, or maybe tac. So it will IPA, sorry, it will print me result in the opposite order, and this will print me result in the straight order. So I can do anything with pipe. Also, one thing to notice is whenever you pipe whenever you pipe anything from one command to another command, so what happens is the shell creates a sub shell in the background. So how would you know this? So let's say um, there are also like variables. So bash shlvl. SHLVL, what it tells is like how much deep you are in. Oh, let's not go over here first. Let's introduce you how uh, what commands are. Um, so if you go into help, just type help in your terminal, you will get this. When you type help, you will get all of the commands that you can see over here. These are all the shell built-ins. So there are two types of commands in Linux. One is a built-in command, another is like just a binary command or maybe a shell script. So you can check like type cat. What is cat? Is cat a built-in? No, it is not. So cat, you can say -a for cat. So which where all cat is, and what cat is actually. So cat is a file that is located in user bin cat or bin cat. Type 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 is a shell built-in that is telling me what type of the file is. So if I do help type, you can get information about it. So whatever command which is any command that is a shell built-in, you can get help about that using help and whatever that shell built-in is. You cannot see man page of that man type. If I do that, there's no entry for that because it is a shell built-in. Shell provides you that, and it is a functionality of shell. Now similarly, you can see that echo is a shell built-in, and also there are also binaries available for echo. But then how would you know which echo is being executed, and if you want to maybe um, use a specific like if you want to use a shell built-in or you want to use this echo, how would you use them? So you could use, yeah, so you could use
Uh,
commands like,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you just zoom in your terminal?
Cool. Is it clear right now?
A little bit more.
Okay. Now,
Yeah. This is good.
okay. So if I want to use a built-in built-in type like built-in echo, I could use built-in echo hi. Now this is using the echo that is built into shell. And if I do not want to use that built-in echo, I could use command echo hi. So this is using either this or this. How would I know it is using which? I could type hash. Now, hash is another utility that tells which last command is being executed. So, like I have done, I'm not sure why echo did not come over here. Maybe it went. Command is okay. Command is also a shell built-in now, but maybe that triggered like echo does not come over here. But yeah, so let's say I do over here IP. No, yeah, IPA. And if I type hash, now IP is over here, which is like hash tells us hash is also a shell built-in. Um, Hash tells us where what last commands are used, and it does not go into finding where the command is located, and it can directly pull the paths from the cache. Hash is just a cache that shell uses by default. um, Now you can find out these that I told you earlier. Going onwards, I told you about built-in. What are built-in and uh, commands that differentiate, and how you can tell if a command is built-in and if a command is not built-in. Now, if we move onwards, I told you about pipe. Also, there are two types, so you can use this and you can use this pipe ampersand. So what pipe ampersand does is it pipes std err also. So in bash there's three types of um, outputs and inputs, you can say, like redirections that you can do. So I can say echo hi and then pipe it to let's say whatever, right? And if I cat whatever, I can see over here hi. Now if I say ech hi whatever, now whatever would be overwritten by nothing. Whatever, now earlier whatever had hi, but now whatever has nothing, like really nothing. What happened was that any command that is being executed in shell is has std out, std err, and then std in that it has to handle. So it errored out. So we got std err over here printed out on our terminal. Now, if I want to handle this also, so and pipe this, let's say in some case std err into this file for some reason, I could say ech hi whatever to ampersand one cat whatever. Now the contents of stderr went into the whatever file. They were not printed out earlier, like when we saw over here. They were not printed out on the terminal. They were written to the file. And I was telling you about this pipe ampersand. This also does the same thing. So ampersand over here means that there is a pending file descriptor to be given that shell needs to interpret. So we are redirecting over here the stderr, which is 2. 2 is stderr. 2 denotes stderr in shell, and 1 denotes std out. So I can also say echo 1 out whatever. So like this would not have anything in over here. Echo, I can say hi. So whatever file would have hi one. This is explicit mentioning of what you want to do, and this is implicit mentioning of what you want to do. Both syntaxes are the same. And again, like I've not covered this. I'm just covering this. IP A Or maybe let's say let's go with this ECH this, and I want to grab all lines in the error ECH would error out. I want to find all lines which would have I in their std err. So if I say this, I would get all of this, but I want to do this operation on std err, so I can say this. Now there's a change. What happened was that pipe ampersand, it merges all of the content from std out and std err into one stream, and then gives it to grep or maybe another utility with whatever there is, and then it goes on further. So pipe, what pipe does is that it outputs only std err. It pipes only std out, sorry, and pipe ampersand, it handles std out and std err both. um okay, now moving onwards. So pipe we have covered. Lists. um Coming to lists, let's say let's go on before all of this. Let's get our hands dirty with variables. So I'll cover this list and moving onwards, but let's cover variables first, because in any language you start with variables. I've not covered it till yet. So you can define a variable with a, like let's say a is a variable, and a equals something. Now if I, how would you, this has assigned a, it's something to a. How would I output it? So I can say echo dollar a, so I can see it over here. But let's say I want to assign multiple words to it, so I would say something um, in the drawer, but it would error out. Why? Because it would see this in as a command and then try to execute it. If I want to store all of this into one, as a one string into a, I could do like it. I could do it like this and echo it like this. So I have this. Now, if I want to, let's say, do some operations on this, what can you do with these variables? So turns out pretty much. So let's assign a variable. What a b c d. Now I could say in this case a, and if I want to omit out from the beginning, let's say all of the a's, so I could say from the beginning like hash. So where could you find this in man page? Let's see this. These are called parameter expansions. You could go in there, parameter expansions, if you are following, and like hash, and I could say a star. What it would do is it would match all of the um, a and then anything very like to the first shortest string that it gets. But if I say a hash hash a star, it would do like it would output nothing, because it has this pattern. How do I make you understand this? um, let's go with time. Yeah. Now, what I did over here is that if I show the contents of the variable, the contents of variable has this date and then this time. Now if I want to extract only the time, I would say that hash hash star a. The star is a pattern that you want to match. So over here you can see like this parameter hash hash word. Now what it does is it removes matching prefix pattern. So what happened over here was it matched anything like star and then the space, and then it removed it from the variable a, and I was only left with the time, so it removed all of this. Now if I want to get only the time, um, like only I want to remove only the time, so I could say percentage and then space and then star. Now what it would do is like this is the just the next thing over here. So it removes uh, matching suffix from the pattern, and I've got this. Now there's also this single hash and this single percentage. Now what it could do is if I do single percentage, though okay, this I showed you above, right here, uh, a b c d and hash a star, it matches the shortest pattern over here. But then if I did the double, it matched all of it because it because I did a star over here. Now it would not be the same in this case if I do single percentage, because the pattern still holds true to the uh, shortest string match, but it would behave differently in this case, because over here the value was triple A B C D, and I removed A and then anything, so it matched only A, the first shortest thing that it could match. Um, Regarding variables, you can do pass the variables to the script. So let's create a script that reads variable from the arguments. This is the first argument. So this is only matching $1 because I'm including it in double apostrophes. Um, so you could group the strings, the words in double apostrophes or in single apostrophes. The difference is that in double apostrophes, everything gets expanded, but in single apostrophes, nothing gets expanded. So if I was to pass in another two arguments, it would still work. So second and third. So this is the first argument, which is matching the $1. This is the second argument, which is matching the $2. This is the third argument that is matching the $3. Now, if I want to, let's say, print all of the arguments, no matter what. Okay, let's try out one more thing. If I pass in fourth, it would not print it. The reason being that I have not told my script to handle the fourth argument. I am only handling the first three arguments, not any of the other. But if I want to handle all of the arguments that are passed to the script, I could say star, and then I would tell you the meaning and why I'm doing the writing like this. So var test, and I give it the arguments. First argument second, third, and fourth, it would print me like this. If I pass in other arguments as well, it would handle like this, like gracefully. I could also say at. Now, what is the difference between both of these? First of all, let's do this star and at. So why are they both printing me the same thing? What's the difference over here? So add what add does is it handles each and every argument individually, and star it has a special case. Anyone wants to say anything? Okay. So let's look at this in a different way. For I in do done, for I in do done. Now, if you can see the difference over here now, what's happening is that in when I pass in the at argument, it handles each and every argument individually. So it prints first argument first, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. But then in the star, it aggregates all of the arguments into one argument, and then prints only that single line to me. But if I did remove the over here, now both of these would work similarly. Now the reason for this is that uh, oh, when I removed the double apostrophes from this over here, now it expanded all of the arguments in front of this in and whatever, and treated the for loop treated each and every argument as individually. But now if I did the same thing with at, what would happen? Feeling that
Uh, if it's
chat
fine, I would
right
propose
now.
to put a password. Yeah.
Oh, so if I removed the double apostrophes, what happened was in this case also, it expanded all of the arguments, and then the for loop treated each and every argument individually. So why was I uh, first of all, why am I using this curly braces around it? I could also be saying simply echo $a, but then why the curly braces? What's the use of it? And why am I printing it like this? Why am I using it like this? So it has a reason. Like if I want to say let's echo $a, and I want to print Rahul Bansal, my name, Bansal, so it would treat all of it as one single. Now I could say dollar brace. Now it would print Rahul Bansal. And the second reason is for apostrophes to include is that you can group, like what I told you above. You can group all of the things into one argument. So like first program, the first argument, this is grouped as one when you and treated as one when you quote your arguments like this. I have not covered the other things over here in parameters and expansions. So you could also set defaults in variables. There is a lot to cover in variables. You could hello.
Yeah.
Should I go over all of the variable types, like whatever there is in man page? I could do so. If you're interested.
Before that, I have a question. So if you can
Yeah.
just, so
Yeah.
previously you shared about this dollar semi curly braces, and inside the curly braces you put the star and at the rate. So what is the difference between dollar and curly braces and dollar and parenthesis? So
Uh,
because we use this dollar and parenthesis to execute a command within this parenthesis.
I could you write me, like, I'm not able to understand what could you write me what are you trying to say, like what's
Yeah,
the difference
I have
between.
shared in the chat. Can you?
Okay. So what's the difference between these two? Basically, this is this expands anything. So if I say echo, let's say IPA, like yeah, let's say, yeah, let's go with this, and I am quoting it. If I do not quote it, then it will print all of this in one line. Uh, what this does is similar to what this is doing. So this is called command expansion, I guess. Command substitution. So in this paragraph, you can go over here in man page, command substitution. What command substitution does is you can execute any command and then use the output of that command into another. So if I give you an example, echo, how should I give you? This is does this explain how? What else can I give the example, like? So let's take this as an example. So date is executed in the subshell over here, and then in the outer in the outer shell, the main parent shell that in which the subshell executed this date command, uh, the echo command printed out the output of this subshell in on the terminal. It was redirected to the terminal. So I told you, like earlier, the default output is printed on the terminal, and you can redirect it to another file if you want. But and the second part is dollar this. So this is used when you are trying to expand a variable. So I told you, like, you cannot do execute command over here. So echo date does not execute date command and then prints the date. It can only happen if I um, initialize the date of variable with something. So let's say echo today's date is, and I do over here date. Now I print out date. Now it's printing me today's date is Sunday, whatever. So what happened was over here that I am a- assigning the output of this into date and then printing out the contents of date in the format that I chose in the above. Is there any doubt over here? Philomath, Mohit?
Sorry, I was busy somewhere else. Not. I'll just go through. If you have answered my question, I go through the recording. So for that, I couldn't follow up. So you can continue. Okay.
Yeah, fine. Um, so I told you like we could do. I although I answered his question, but let's go over one more thing with this. So this executes in a subshell. I could also say it like this. So the backticks were used earlier, and they are not preferred now because you cannot, you know,
Depreciated.
not it's not depreciated as in, but you cannot nest it. So I cannot say date, like echo date, then maybe let's say this also echo. So this would not like work. So I could say like this. So and sorry, and then go over here. So what's happening is that I am nesting all of the commands and then getting the output from the innermost shell, subshell, to the outside, then to the outside, then to the outside. But you cannot nest like in here. So I mean, technically you can, but like this. Backslash, backslash, date, maybe, but I would not suggest doing this because up to how many levels would you quote it? So this was a challenge. Like you want you wanted to nest many things, but then if you wanted to nest many of the things, then you had to quote uh, multiple times the deeper in the shell you went. Um, yeah. So also there's like this nice thing in variable expansion. Like if I want to, if I have this variable, let's say dummy echo $a or $a if you want
Rahul,
it my way. Yeah,
can you increase the font size?
yeah. Now, if I want to, let's say, do something with it, it highlight it. I mean, uh, make it uppercase, or maybe if I have it in camel case and then want to do all of it in uppercase, or maybe all of it in lowercase, I could do that. If I want to only have the first character in lowercase, because if I see it, the first character is in uppercase, but I want to have the first character is in lowercase, then I could say only like comma, or let's say let's do it a equal to um, Mohit, right? And I would say I want to make first character capital no matter what. I would say it like this. You could see it in parameter expansion. Um, Also, there's this you can use defaults in bash with uh, variables. So I could say, let's say I do not define a unset a. Now I do not have a, right? And I want to have something in place of a that works as default. So I could say a and something default default. I'm getting this, or maybe Mohit, I'm getting this. A does not has anything, but then if A is null, or maybe if A is not defined, and I want to have something default in place of that variable, I could use this. Or if I want to assign some value to that variable, if that variable does not exist or is null, I could do this. So it has printed over here, but then if I say $a, it has assigned the value of Mohit to a.
Nice.
Sorry, I will
Yeah,
not
I
be
was just saying that that's a good feature to have.
I will not check what other people are saying. Does anyone have questions? Okay. Now, if I want, this is a special case. If you want to error out, if you do not want, if the value of the variable is null or does not exist, so there's this parameter. There's this option in Bash which enables you to quit out of scripts when anything errors out. So in case, let's say, we should test this out. Wait, cd dots vim test echo hi ech whatever. This is fail, ech fail, okay, and then ech lost. So if I want to have a script that uh, runs, that I want to make sure that it either runs all of the commands, or maybe just break out on the step that it fails on. So by default it does not happen. So if I execute this, so it will print out hi, and it will error out over in the second line and then print the last line. But if I do bin bash hyphen e, so it would error out and then it would not go further um, in the script. So what you could do with this option over here is that if you have um, let's say a parameter that is not given, uh, and you want to exit out of the script if that is not given, then you could handle it with this. So let's try it out. One question mark um, fail test, it will fail. Test hi, it will not fail. Why it will not fail? Because I have passed in the parameter over here. So if you see over here, like this is one. I told you earlier that when you type in $1, it is the first parameter. So I could say like fail the command if first parameter is not set. Now this is and give me like the uh, reason why it failed. So I could say over here, parameter not set, first parameter not set, first parameter not set, first. It will print. This is as simple as that, and this is very useful if you want to have reliable scripts. The next thing is this is I have not found any use case for this yet. Uh, but yeah, this and the next things I have found use case for. You could say this is very important. I mean, let's say this. I could say hash and get the number of arguments that I have passed. So let's say 1, 2, 3. I would get 3. Reason being, $hash by default prints all of the arguments that number of arguments that has been passed to the script. But if I have, let's say, a variable or maybe an array, we'll come to arrays later. Uh, First, let's cover this. Also, if I, let's say, do this with some string, a equals testing variable, and then I introduce hash a, then run it. It would print me 16 because it is counting the letters of this variable. So in case it is a string, it would print the number of characters. In case it is an array that we will cover later, it would print the number of elements in it. In case it is an associative array, that is a dictionary, it will print the number of, again, keys that the associative array would have. By default, $hash prints the number of arguments that is covered. Not prefix, this is again the part of array that we'll cover right now. Yeah, so you can try out others later, or hello.
Yes.
I mean, there is a lot to cover. Am I is this going right or not? Like, I want some feedback.
That's right. You
Yeah,
can continue.
it's my feedback that I like that. Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry, Animesh was talking. So
Is
You
anyone
can
who
continue.
would disagree with the pattern that I've chosen, like to have a hands-on and cover everything, or maybe just uh, move over fast over things? Raju?
actually, I like the function that you took the bash man page and sorry, I think that's the echo from your side.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just write my feedback in the chat.
Okay. So, okay then. If this is fine, then we'll go over this. If I want to have, let's say, in case some characters offset, and then um, want anything after that, so I could use this. Let's try this out. So a colon, let's say 3. Now it is printing me thing variable, but why is it doing so? Because it is picking the offset over here, and then printing everything after the offset. If I want to have only, let's say, 3 characters after it, or maybe 5 characters after it, then I could say this, and it would only print me like these are 5 if you are not able to see cat hyphen a, sorry, cat hyphen a. So this is a space over here. So these are 5 characters. Starting from the third character, you are you would be seeing 5 characters length. In case this is an array, it would print like from the elements offset and then to the length. Covering this, sorry, if I have, let's say, multiple variables, let's define this as a1, a2, a b1, and c1, and I want to print all of the uh, variables that start with a. I could say this because this would be helpful in case you uh, have like variable naming patterns. So it is recommended to all of the developers that you should follow um, variable naming patterns in your code, and then have some definite prefixes to your variables. So if you want to find all of the variables with some prefix, you could use this to find those out in that context. Also, we could replace without using sed or whatever the variables. So let's remove all of this and come back to our a variable, and I want to replace, let's say, mm, what should I replace, t with capital T. Now it has replaced the first t only in this case. uh, what it's doing is it in the variable a replace t with the capital T, but it will only replace the first one. If you want to replace all of these, then you could do double slash over here. So it would replace all of the t's in this variable with whatever that you have mentioned. Uh, Over here, these are parameter and operator. So we could cover it right now. Do we have a over here? We could declare. I've covered how we are declaring variables over here. So I could say a equal to 8 over here, but this a equal to 8, this is a string variable that a has 8 like in characters in string. um, but if I want to have only like um, int in a, so I could say declare hyphen I. So let's have this over here. Help declare at, sorry, type declare is a shell built in, and help declare would print all of the functionality. So you could say, I want to make an int variable, then you could use I. If I want to make let's say read-only variable, you could say, or you have to define first the variable, then you could make read-only. And let's say an array, then you could say a associative array, capital A. So if I declare hyphen I a and assign a equal to 8, then it would print me 8. But if I assign a equal to test or maybe some string, then it would print me 0, because it cannot go out of it cannot assign string to an int variable. By default, if you are assigning something, anything, without declaring what type of variable it is, so it would figure out at the runtime, like, what should I do, what should it do. So yeah, you could. And it also has the convention that we covered previously, to have uppercase with U, lowercase with L. Uh, so if you have a equals, like, if you declare unset a, declare hyphen L a, and then assign a equals to Tommy, and then echo a. So it would only have the lowercase of it, because you have declared it explicitly to have lowercase. So you do not have to have run you do not have to manage lowering or making those uppercase with the expansions that we have covered earlier. uh, so why I covered this over here is because we have to cover this. So parameter at operator, it's a new functionality in Bash. So if, let's say, I declare, do not go into echo $a. Now if I want to check what type of variable a is, so I could check it with a, this what flags it was assigned, echo $a at a. So it is a lowercase. If you want to check what type of variable, so if, let's say, unset a, declare hyphen I a, and then if you want to check what type of variable a is, you could check it with this is indicating I, so it means like it is an integer variable. You could use q for quoting. So let's say a equals unset a equals whatever, and then echo $a. I want to have quotes around it to be used, so I could say at q. So it would print it with quotes. If I want to have expansion, uh, I could use capital E. So let's say a equals a backslash db, and then a equals E. So it would print me. Oh, okay. No, got it. So because I was not enclosing it in the double parameter double quotes, it did not like give me uh, it did not expand. So right now it's expanding. And yeah, you could read other things also in here. um, Going down, covering arithmetic expansion. So if you want to add, like, do anything, add, subtract, multiply, um, or have something power off, you could do 2 multiplied by 4. So it gives you the answer of 5. You could also say, so there's also another way of doing this arithmetic operations. So with the let command, so type let. There is a shell built in. You can say a equals 2, b equals 5, and then let c equals a multiplied by b. And if I say what is the value of c, so 2 into 5 equals 10. So let is another way to have arithmetic operations in bash, and then this is another way. In process substitution, uh, you could say, so also this is mentioning that the old format is this and is deprecated and will be removed in the upcoming versions. So do not use this if you find this online. Process substitution, this is an interesting thing in bash. So let's say I have something that only expects file. So cat only expects a file to be catted out. So if I cat test, it would do that. But if I say cat $a, it would not do that because $a is not a file. If it were to expand, like if I say equals to test and then I say $a, then it would do that. But if I have something like, let's say, some operation, right? So I could say ifconfig. What what happened over here was that this is called basically process substitution. You could also say it like these are of two types. One is this and one is this. So I would be covering both of these. Uh, this opens a file descriptor to write, and this opens a file descriptor for read. Uh, so file descriptor is basically another file that you could read data from, and like how do I explain that? Like, so we are getting dev fd63 over here, right? But I'm not, but where did it come from? Basically this replaces this gets replaced with the file descriptor path, and then the file descriptor, you are seeing the file descriptor path over here. And if I say cat over here, then you would see testing, because the file descriptor path, uh, the file descriptor's content is being catted out uh, from this. So there's also this other uh, use case, which is, I mean, helpful if you have something to write. So let's say uh, I have curl ifconfig.co, right? So it is giving me IP, right? Now if I want to do some operation on this IP, so I could say, like, let's say let's wget it, wget ifconfig IP. Now it is writing me a file over here like index.html, but I do not want it. Let's say wget ifconfig to dev null, and then write its contents to um, file cat file. I have the IP address, but I, let's say, rather than outputting it to file and then performing operation on file, let's say I want to perform operations on file directly. So I could say grep hyphen po, um, first 1 2 3 4 5 6 characters, and then it would give me first 6 characters. So what's happening over here is that it gets the content from this website, downloads it, and then it is writing the contents to this process substitution, and then piping it and then giving it this giving it in this process substitution file descriptor, and then grep is getting the contents from this file descriptor and then executing the executing whatever it has to execute on the std input uh, that it's getting. Uh, this tunnel is it's just to suppress the uh, unwanted things like this that you're getting this mess. Uh, yeah. Any questions till now?
I don't think we have any questions. Yes. Sorry, I have to mute you. Uh, is it just me or everyone is getting the echo? Okay, so yeah, I was. Thank you, Rahul. So it's a bit over time. It's 10 p.m. I think you can you can somehow conclude your talk. It would be very good, and we can continue it later. So I was saying that we can keep continuing your talk later, and you can conclude it for the today.
Yeah, because there's a lot to cover and lot is. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.